I have a question for you guys. Would the show be the same if you, or obviously it wouldn't, but what would you rather watch? Would you rather watch It's Always Sunny if the gang left but the bar was still there? Or would you rather watch the gang still there but the bar is for whatever reason isn't in the show? And think about Archer. You know that show Archer? They essentially got rid of their workplace setting because of ISIS.
Oh yeah.
And the entire show changed drastically. I mean, it ruined the show, essentially, when they left the spy agency.
That is arguable. I think the most recent seasons have been phenomenal, but
No.
We'll save that for our Archer podcast.
I enjoy I do enjoy them, but it takes anyone to see that, like,
it's
people
not
aren't
the same.
happy with it.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Thanks, ISIS.
I will make the argument. I don't know how much.
It's real. No, seriously. That's why they changed the show.
ISIS's worst casualty was the Archer quality.
Yeah, I don't watch Archer, so I'm not going to comment on that aspect of this. But I do think that the gang is still the gang and would still be hilarious if you took out the bar aspect. Like, even in the most recent episodes, like the water park, fucking hilarious. I love when they go to the zoo and the gang text, fucking hilarious. So, like, I still think that if they had to not have the bar be the back theme, I think they'd be fine. I think the bar is just a really good back theme because they can always do something at the bar. And then obviously they can always choose to go to all these other places like their road trips or...
That's a good answer.
The mantra of the show is within the characters' heads, not within the bar. The bar is the perfect facility for them because the way the gang is on the inside, the bar looks on the outside.
Yeah. Well, I always think that when you're talking about shows or watching shows, or it's always interesting. Well, for this show, I think it's good to consider the bar as its own character, even though it's obviously not the main character as we're discovering right now, because they've had episodes outside of the bar and they've been excellent. But you have to consider that even the setting of a show like this can itself be a character, like the show Twin Peaks, like the town of Twin Peaks itself was a character. You know,
but that's how David Lynch wrote that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just using those as examples of how a setting can still be a character.
Well, I think that's the difference between a good show or a truly exceptional show and a show that gets forgotten. Seinfeld's Diner was iconic. These locations
or
become
Cheers.
As a Cheers bar, obviously.
Was Cheers the main? Because Cheers was the entire catalyst. Like, the bar was the entire catalyst for the show. All the characters go there and meet up. But the bartender, Sam the bartender, is considered the main character of that show.
You know, it's interesting when you see the two different realities of people that spend every day in their bar. You got Cheers, where Ted Danson's smiling and ready to hand you a drink. And then you got It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's probably more accurate. The bar is filled with smoke and the people working there are probably going to be a little mean to you.
You will get stabbed.
And you will get stabbed.
Yeah, sorry, but I do like the point that you say that kind of like the bar is a character. Like, I think the bar almost has like a personality too. Like, obviously it can't act.
No.
But like the bar is known to be kind of dirty and run down and things break and that's just who they are. Like, they're not trying to fix it. They're not trying to be anything that they're not. Like, when the bar is running well and being successful, that's when I feel like they're at their worst. Like, the worst comes out in them when the bar is successful. So by the bar not being successful and kind of like lagging along with them, I feel like that almost makes them feel better in a weird way. Like, they almost compare themselves to the bar in a weird way. They're like, well, we're better than the bar.
Yeah, they say like we're doing better than the bar is.
Yeah, I kind of feel like in their head that's what they think sometimes. So when the bar succeeds and the bar's making money, they just realize like, oh, like we still kind of suck, but the bar's doing good. Like, that's not okay.
This show really kind of has more of a plot than like many multi-camera sitcom shows, or like one-camera sitcom shows. I don't know the terminology, but like It's Always Sunny. I mean, Friends and like How I Met Your Mother. To me, they don't have as much of a plot as It's Always Sunny, which essentially has no plot.
I was thinking about that when we were recording our last episode and we were talking about the story arcs between Gang Goes Jihad and Gang Gives Back. And it seems to me that they did try to tie a story arc together at first, which is super admirable when you're writing storylines that are just as blatantly screwed up as this. It's really hard to tie it all together and give it a reason to rhyme. So, I think maybe they bailed on that after, but there's plenty of story arcs that you see in Sunny.
But I guess I'm saying, like, if you watch the entirety, I don't love How I Met Your Mother and Friends is okay, but if you were to watch those shows, they really end the way they begin. I mean, How I Met Your Mother was a terrible ending from what I've heard, but they don't, like, the characters don't really change that much for me. In Friends, they're still in the coffee shop, they're still in their apartment. It's boring. How I Met Your Mother is the same way. They're still in their loft. They're still in the coffee shop. It's boring. Seinfeld is great because it's funnier than both those shows, even though it has the similar in the coffee shop, in the loft. But It's Always Sunny. They go beyond that structure of we have these two settings and we have these characters. They really deconstruct that narrative, and that's why I think that the plot there is better than those other shows. Even though there is a very loose plot, they still have a better idea of what they want the show to be, in my opinion. You can tell that this show is a breathing, living show, but for a show like, How I Met Your Mother, I didn't really feel that. The characters were kind of two-dimensional to me.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I actually kind of liked How I Met Your Mother, but I noticed this with a lot of shows and a lot of series and a lot of movies even. So many people expect a lot at the end of movies or the end of shows, and that's not really what it's supposed to be. Like, the most exciting parts are the story. Yeah. Like, when It's Always Sunny finally ends, like, the ending 5 minutes aren't going to be like, that was the best ending ever. Yeah. This is amazing. Like, the storyline itself was the best part and was the most exciting part. So I think, like, the end is just meant to just tie everything together. And
like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I was watching a Quentin Tarantino interview, and he was saying how, like, everyone goes up to him and is like, I know it was in the briefcase. I know it was there. And he's like, it's whatever you want it to be. That's not the point.
It's I was just listening to Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and Russell Brand was on it, and they were talking about, this is completely like far off, but follow me on this long walk here. They were talking about like manifestations of deities, and
that's
like
Duncan Trussell for you, and Russell Brand for you.
And like Jesus appeared as a human because that's how we can comprehend him. But really, it's whatever you wanted to make it. It's these characters are whatever you want them to be in your head. They'll relate to you differently for every single person that watches these shows. To bring it back to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you got people that think it's okay to compare themselves to people in the gang and be like, oh, our friend group, I'm such the Dennis, I'm such the whatever. And that's not good. That's not good. So, and then you got people that acknowledge that these characters are not good, and us who are like making this podcast to point out, don't be like these people. This is why they're funny, is because we're laughing at them.
Yeah, someone had like said, was like for South Park, like Cartman isn't the hero, he's the joke.
Yes.